So I've been struggling to get good cold cut saw blades. I always use Tenru, and they work great. I mean, I swear I get 1,000+ cuts per blade. I'll put one of those Tenru blades in there, and it'll last. It'll 8, 9 months later. That same blade still in the saw. But this last time I went to my parts store, um, they didn't have none but Diablo. So I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. I'm not big on Diablo. I never have been, but went ahead and bought it. And that Diablo cold cut saw blade, it literally, the first cut with that Diablo blade, it peeled 3 teeth off the blade. So first cut, Diablo, 14-inch cold cut saw blade. First cut, and it rips 3 carbide tips off. I couldn't believe it. So I took it back, and that was actually right before this parts store sold. I mean, they sold out. Somebody else owns them now. And Diablo wouldn't do nothing about it. But the owner of the store, I go in there frequently, is like, man, we'll stand behind it. Even though Diablo did, we'll, give you another blade. Or refunded them my money is what they did. But so anyhow, I went in this last time, and all they had was Milwaukee. So, and I thought, well, I've always liked Milwaukee. I thought I'll give it a shot. They didn't have Tenru, or that was just all I had. It was another Diablo, which I refused to buy in Milwaukee. So, and this was like $170 with tax out the door. 72 tooth blade, stainless, cuts aluminum, steel, all thread, blah, blah, blah. And I know it looks beat up. That's because after I went rounds with the store on taking it back, I just threw it in the back of the truck. So it's been bouncing around the back of the truck for 3 weeks now. But I got 6 cuts out of this dirty son of a biscuit, man. I got 4 cuts out of 11 gauge, 3/4 square tubing. And I got 2 cuts out of some 5-inch 3/16 flat bar. And I wouldn't make a third cut. Well, I got to looking at it, and the tips, the carbide tips, they're literally perfectly flush with the blade itself. So the tips ought to be a little bit wider so they cut clearance for the blade. So after that 6th cut, this thing's done, $170 with tax. So I went in there, hadn't been in there for a couple weeks, went in there a couple days ago, and it was either Diablo again or Milwaukee or Fine. I think that's how you pronounce it, Fein. And he offered to make me a better deal on, I'll give you a good deal on another Milwaukee. We don't warranty them, but, it's like, dude, why would I buy another Milwaukee? This one only lasted freaking 6 cuts for $170. So that's just stupid, man. The kid acted like he was, going to try to educate me on a cold cut saw blade. And I just looked at him and was like, bro, I got snot rags in my truck freaking older than you are. So you can just shut up now, man. You're not going to tell me nothing about what the hell I'm doing. I've been doing this 40 years now. So I ended up buying that Fine blade, though, and I went to put it on. I pulled, a couple inches of the rubber cover on the tips. It's exactly like this one. The carbide tips aren't any freaking wider than the damn blade itself. So it's not going to cut any clearance for the blade again. So I didn't put it on the saw. I'll take that one back tomorrow morning. I was kind of stressing. I got some gates and stuff to build, and got a few things coming up, and I like that cold cut saw. You don't got to breathe the crap in the air, and my table's set up for it. I'm not crawling around on the concrete. So I was getting ready to give up, and I punched it into Google one more time. And, I said, where can I get 14-inch cold cut steel chop saw blades? Boom, Harbor Freight has Hercules. I'm not a big Harbor Freight guy, but I thought, what the hell, man, I'll give it a shot. Didn't feel like crawling around on the floor tonight, cutting a bunch of stuff. So that's what I got. I went and bought it's a Hercules Harbor Freight blade, made in China, $80. Made in China, $170 with tax. So I thought they're both made in China. What the hell? So I rolled the dice on the Hercules, though, man. It seems to work really good. Made a half a dozen cuts with it now. I checked the tips on it before I walked out the door with it. And they're, the carbide tips on this Hercules blade, they're a 128th wider than the blade. So I know it's cutting clearance for the blade, and it seems to work fine. So I guess I'm putting in a good word for Hercules and Harbor Freight. Everybody be safe.